Assalamu alaikum class. In this video we will learn about the least common multiple, which is also named as LCM, which is basically the least common multiple. So before dealing with least common multiple, at first we will discuss it what is meant by the multiple of a number. So multiple of a number A is some number which is completely divisible by A, or in other words you can say that the number which is appearing in the table of that number. For example, the multiples of 3 are 3, 3 ones are 3, 3 twos are 6, 3 threes are 9, 3 fours are 12, 3 fives are 15, and so on. So simply we will multiply 3 with each number and we will get some multiples of 3. Similarly, the multiples of 9 will be 9, 18, 27, 36. So the multiples are basically the numbers that are divisible by some particular number. Now we will find out the LCM of the numbers. Let's suppose we are talking about the LCM of 9 and 12, and as we have discussed for HCF, that is the highest common factor, that there are three methods to find out the HCF. Similarly, there are three methods to find out the LCM as well, and it's totally up to you that which method you want to use. So the first one, or the basic method, is that we will, as we have discussed for the HCF2, that we will find we will write down all the multiples of the numbers, and then we will find out the common multiples, and then we will choose the least common multiple. So here we have the multiples of 9, that are 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, and so on. So I have just multiplied 9 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on. So it means that there are infinite many multiples for a particular number. Similarly, the multiples of 12 are 12, 24, 36, 48, and so on. Now we will find out some common multiples. So we have 36 common, 72 is common, and then 108 is common, and also there will be some other common multiples as well, but as we have to find out the least common multiple, so it's enough to find out 2 or 3 so that we may easily find out the least one. So the least common multiple is 36, but obviously this method is time consuming, and if somehow if we miss some multiple, then and there may be a chance that that will be a common multiple, so there will be some problem. That's why this method is not much appreciable when we will find out the LCM of some larger numbers. These are 9 and 12 are very simple numbers, so their multiples, to write down their multiples is a simple thing. But if we are having a very large number, for example we have 222 or we have 501, then how we can find out such multiples of such numbers without using calculator? So that's why this method is not feasible or more appreciable, but still this one is a method to find out the least common multiple. The second method deals with the prime factorization. We will perform the individual prime factorization for each number. Here is a prime factorization for 9, and here is a prime factorization for 12, and we will find out the common number, which is 3 in this case. If you remember that in HCF we just write down the common numbers and then we will multiply if we are having more than one common multiples or the common numbers. But in case of LCM, what we will do, we will write down the common number for once. So this 3 is common, so I have write down the common number, and then I'm going to multiply the remaining numbers, which are 3, 2, 2. So 3, 2, 2, and we will have 36 as an answer. So this is the basic difference between the method of HCF and LCM, that in case of HCF we just multiply the common numbers, and in case of LCM we write down the common numbers first, taking them to be the 1, and then we multiply the other remaining numbers. There is the method 3 as well. The third method, in which we deal with the two numbers as well, which is most commonly used by saying that we are taking LCM of the two numbers. That is, we will deal with the two numbers as ones, and we will start the prime factorization from 2. So 9 will be as it is, 2 6 are 12, then 9 as it is, 2 3s are 6, then 3 3s are 9, 3 1s are 3, and 3. So here is the LCM, which is 36. Now we are going to find out the LCM of the three numbers 70, 21, and 28. If remember the third method, I will simply deal with the three numbers as a whole. So 2, I will start the prime factorization with 2. So 2, 35, 70, 21 as it is, 14 into 2 is 28. Then again it would be divisible by 2. So 2 sevens are 14. The other two numbers are the same. Then after 2, I will check it for 3. So 35 as it is, 3 sevens are 21, 7 as it is. After 3 see the prime number is 5, and we get 5 sevens are 35, and then 7 ones are 7. So this is how the LCM exists for and these three numbers, and it will be 420. What about if I apply the second method, that is in which I prime factorization of each number individually, and then I will multiply it for the LCM. So here is the prime factorization for 70 and here is a prime factorization for 21, and here is a prime factorization for 28. Now you can see that the common number is 7, but 2 is also common in these two. This is the basic difference, or the most important thing when we discuss about the LCM, that if the sum number is common in the two terms, then we will consider it to be a common number. We will not write it to be the two times, we will write it down only for once time. Why is it necessary that we take common from the two numbers too? Because when we are dealing with the LCM in this method, you can see that if we are dividing it with 2, and 2 can divide two numbers, not the three numbers, but still it appears only once. It will not, we will not say that 235 and then we separately deal with it. So if some number is a common factor for the two numbers, it only appears once. That's why if some number is common in the two prime factorization, you can also consider it to, or you should consider it to be the common number, so that it appears only once. So this is the difference between HCF and LCM. But for HCF, we will take out common a number if it is common in all the three numbers. Here is another question in which prime factorization is already given to you. We will simply explain, or we will expand the terms. So 2 power 2 means 2 into 2, then 3 power 3 means we will repeat 3 times, then we will repeat 5 4 times, and then we will find out the common numbers. And the common numbers are, you can see 2, 3, 3, 3, 5, 5 and 5. That is 2 power 2, 3 power 3, 5 power 3. But we have to multiply the numbers that are missing or that are not common. So 2, 3, 5 and 7. So when I multiply all the terms, I will get 2 power 2, 3 power 4, 5 power 4 and 7. You can see that I am going to have the maximum power for each term. Like I have 2 power 1 and 2 power 2. So in LCM, we will write down the maximum power 2 power 2. Then 3 power 3, 3 power 4, maximum 3 power 4, then 5 power 4 and then 7. So you can directly solve the question as well, that if you are given with the prime factorization, simply write down the LCM by taking the maximum power of each individual base. The next topic is about the integer exponents. We know that set of integers consist of the numbers 0, plus minus 1, plus minus 2 and so on. That is, we may have neutral number, we may have positive numbers as well as negative numbers, but we cannot have any decimal or any fraction in the integers. Exponent means the power. So generally we have a power n, where n is representing the exponent or power and a is the base, and there are some properties. Basically the exponent explains or tells us that how many times a number must be repeated in multiplication. For example, if we have 2 power 2, it means I will multiply 2 times, so I will get 4. Similarly 5 power 3, that is 5 is repeating 3 times in multiplication, so 5 into 5 into 5, that is 125. Now there are some properties of integer exponents, that is a power n into a power m is equal to a raised to the power n plus m. Similarly, if we are having division, then we can subtract the powers. And here is another property, that for the negative terms we are simply taking the reciprocal of the power, so that it becomes 1 over a power n. This is not the reciprocal of simple power, it is the reciprocal of the term with base with negative power. Then there is another property, that a power m into a power n. Here you can see a power m whole power n will be equal to a raised to the power m plus m into n. So if we are having power of some power, we will simply multiply the two powers. ab whole power m is a power m into b power m. Similarly, it holds for division as well, and obviously b cannot be 0. And we have discussed earlier that every number raised to the power 0 is 1. So a power 0 is 1, but with the condition that a is not equal to 0, because that will be an undefined expression. Next, we have some examples for integer exponents, and we will apply the properties. So x power 3 into x power 4, we will simply add the powers because same bases are multiplying over here. So I will get x power 7. Then for division, we have to perform subtraction, that is y power 5 divided by y power 2. So I will get y power 5 minus 2, that is y power 3. Then we have x power 5 whole power 6. We will simply multiply the powers and I will get x power 30. And here you can see that I cannot uh, solve it because there is no such property which is dealing with the addition or subtraction of the base exponents. So simply I can take common x cube and then there is an expression x cube into 1 plus x. The next term we are going to discuss about is rounding off and estimating the expression. So estimating means I am going to find out the approximate value or the nearest value, not exact value. We are just going to have an idea that which up to which real number we could have as an answer without solving it completely. And rounding off means that we are going to find out the nearest value of a number depending upon the place value we are going to be mentioned. What is the method to round off the numbers? We have to mark the mentioned position, for example the 100 or 1000 or 10,000 or unit or 10, and then if the digit on the right hand side is equal to 5 or greater than 5, then we have to add 1 in the marked digit, otherwise it will remain the same. And then at the end we will replace the remaining digits with 0, and it is really very important in case of whole numbers, because in case of decimals it is not necessary to write down the zeros, as you know that 1.5 and 1.50 and 1.500, all these three decimals are representing the same decimal. That's why when we are rounding off the decimals, it is not necessary to replace the other terms with 0, but in case of whole numbers it is really very important, because if we are not replacing it with 0, we are changing its place value, which is not acceptable. So here we have an example in which we have to round off the number 41,237 up to the 100. So what we are going to do, I will mark the position at 100, so unit 10 100. So this is my 100, and now I will see or check out the number on the right hand side, which is 3, and as 3 is less than 5, so this 2 remains the same. Otherwise, if I have 5 or greater than 5 over here, then I will must add 2 plus 1, that is 3. So right now it will be the same 2, so 41 2, and we are left with the two numbers, so that must be replaced with 0. So 41,200 is the rounding off value or the nearest value for this number. Here is an example of decimals as well. So if I'm going to round off the decimal 1.5125 up to 3 decimal places, what I'm expected to do, I will mark the third place, that is after decimal point 1 2 3. This is my third place value. So I will check out the number on the right hand side, which is 5. So I will add 1 in this number and it will become 1.513. And what about if I'm going to truncate it? So in case of truncation, we do not check out the number on the right hand side, or you can say that we cannot change the number. We are just cutting it down at some particular defined position. So if we have to truncate the same number up to 3 decimal places, what I'm going to do, simply I'm going to mark out the third one and I will stop it over here. I will not change the number in case of truncation. It is only possible in case of round off the decimals. Then we have estimate the sum. Estimate means I'm going to find out the approximate value. As we know that whole numbers are easy to deal with as compared to the decimals. So we have to find out the estimated value or the approximate value, rather than to deal with the decimals. We have a chance to round off the numbers, so we may round off the decimals up to the whole numbers, and then we can simply add the numbers and find out the approximate value. So here you can see that the rounding off, so at first we will round off the decimal. So 6.3 is rounding off to 6. 8.7 will be round off to 9, and 5.4 will be round off to 5, because here So here we have find out the estimated value, which is 20 in this case, and here you can see that we can add the decimals, and 20.4 is the final answer. So approximate value is 20. So what we have to do in estimation, we have to round off the numbers up to the nearest whole number, and then we will perform the operation whatever mentioned in it. So here we have estimate the product 1599 into 423. Simply we will round off the numbers up to the nearest whole number. And how we can with this one is already a whole number, and how we can make our multiplication easy, that we know that when we are talking about the whole numbers, the numbers that are appearing with more zeros are more easy to deal with as compared to the other numbers. So if we have the number 1599, we can round off this up to the first non-zero digit, that is up to the first value. So we are having 5 on the right hand side, so this will become 2, and we will replace the other numbers with 0, so it will be 2000, and 423 will become 400, and we will multiply the numbers and we will get the answer. This is how we can estimate the product or sum with the help of round off the numbers.